What's going on, everybody? Today is Wednesday, my dudes. Yeah, Wednesday, May 19th. I actually traded quite a bit from work today, so we might have a bit to go through. Let's see. I know that, I was kicking myself because um, Mosey, Mosy, was the only loser I had today, and it would have been a small, $100, $150 loser, but I revenge traded it twice more really quickly after, and I ended up losing 3 times consecutively. And I stepped away from my computer. I was like, I'm done trading. I'll go to work, and maybe I'll trade from there, a little bit later. But had I done that, sooner, we obviously would have been in a much better situation because I ended up having some awesome LLIT trades at work. And instead of having a good day, I could have had a great day. It's just revenge trading. I'll be the first to admit is always like my biggest weakness. It's always something that I just can't stop doing. So again, I'm gonna go back to my rule of not playing a ticker that I've lost on for at least 20 minutes. And trying to force myself to abide by that. It was yeah, it was a pain. It was a pain, but it's in the moment. All I can think of is, damn, I need to win my money back, or damn, I know I'm right. I know I'm right. I just have to try again. I just didn't get a good enough entry. My stop was too tight, or something to that effect. When in actuality, the real thing to think of is, okay, not a big deal. The day is long. It's early. I got tons of opportunities to get this back and then some, right? That's the mindset you need to be having, not, oh no, I'm down money, or dang, I was so close on getting that right. Once a trade is complete, whether it's good or bad, my next goal and my next thought needs to be, okay, what's the next move? What's the next trade? Let's look at some other tickers. Because like the day is very long. And I find that when I when I do badly in the morning, I always end up doing well in the afternoon. So instead of like digging the hole in the morning deeper because I want something to happen, or I want to make something happen, I need to prioritize perhaps I need to prioritize the fact that like there's going to be tons of opportunity. I just need to realize that. So, so UVXY was actually my first trade of the day, and it was right here. Cool. So, yeah, my zone was, I identified my zone at 851. 851. Now, the morning looked rough. I don't know if it was people who were freaked out from Bitcoin or what, but 851. So right here in this action is when, in these candles is when I decided my zone. I created my zone down here. Now, people ask me still all the time, like, how do you create your zones? What do you use? So I used this 5-minute wick right here. I used this 5-minute wick, as you can see, on this chart right here, to create the bottom of my zone. And I used the pre-market high to create the top of my zone, which is right here. And that was how I created my my zone there. So anyhow, as you see, price did come down, tap me, the very top bid, and yeah, it went. It went almost immediately. It broke my profit target. My first profit target was right here at this action, and then I ended up scaling out. Oh, sorry, I ended up scaling out over that. Now, I was only in very small size. This is obviously my stop, the failure of the trend. We're looking at a 10-cent zone here, or I'm sorry, a 10-cent stop loss here, but I only got filled in the top order. So if it did go all the way against me, it still would have just been 10 cents because I would have gotten filled along the way. And my average would have been down here. But regardless, the risk to reward is good. This is a 20-cent, 30-cent zone. Technically, if you come from down here, 30 cents to risk 10 cents, it's a 3-to-1. I know that people, get fixated on risk to reward. So, I just wanted to, let people know that I don't always take 1-to-1s and stuff like that. The risk to reward and scalping can still be good. But yeah, tap me in right here. I was hoping for a little bit more action down here. Obviously the 20 and VWAP gave me some confidence here. I was hoping that we could, fill down here, deal with some of this action and go. But you can't complain on a move like that. I ended up getting 5.4, close to 5.4 for it. So, 20-30 cents. Fortunately, it was very small size, but it was a good start to the day. So MOSY, this is the one that got me. Let's see exactly where it got me. How did I lose on this? I'm gonna have to pull it up on my broker. Oh, okay. Damn. Huh. 514 down to 5. Oh, I see. So my zone is actually up here. And that was my stop. So I must have changed that after I lost. So, yeah. So this is my zone right here. I called this zone up here in this action. Up here during this movement. It was actually, I want to say it was halted. Something like that. Yeah, I think it was halted. And I made this zone. Well, it ended up coming down, filling me, and stopping me out, right? So I was like, well, let me just get another. I'm trying to remember where I ended up losing. I have my other chart pulled up over my brokerage. See, maybe I can figure out exactly why I lost on this one. I mean, I know I lost because my P&L is red. But this looks like a decent trade right here. What the fuck is this? Buy at 5.12, sell at 5.2. It's 8 cents. Huh. Yeah, it looks like what I ended up doing was, after I got stopped out on that one, I quickly bought 1,000 shares down here in this. At 488. So that would have been right up here in this action. I bought 1,000 shares, and I don't know. I guess I don't see how I could have been red on that. I don't know, dude. Am I having a stroke? What happened? I don't even remember. Let me see. Double tops. Huh. Mosey zone filled at 924. That was right here. Yeah. Sorry, I'm having to go back over this. This was this morning. Isn't this incredible that I have no idea what the hell's going on? Mosey zone filled. And yeah, I mean, I got stopped out. My zone was filled, and then I got stopped out down here at 486. So my stop. Oh, I see what happened. So my stop was actually there. That's what happened. Okay, okay, that makes so much more sense. That makes so much more sense. All right, so my stop was too tight. It's that simple. Although, because, you know, we were looking at this, there was no way for me to base 4-8 off of anything other than, you know, some of the range over here. It's very hard because usually I base it off of trend fail, right? But trend fail would have been all the way down here. So I probably just gave myself 10 cents or so. I gave it about 15. Shit. I mean, even 4-8 would have gotten stood. The trick is, though, is that this should have been my zone, which is what I realized afterwards, which is why when we pulled the chart up, it was done like this, right? And you could have taken that to the same zone all day. As you see, it kind of went up and down and up and down. You could have taken, you know, multiple moves up throughout the whole day. But unfortunately, yeah, I took a bad loss right here. Got stopped out at 486. So that would have been on this one. I got back in, got stopped out, got back in, came back down. I didn't even hold it for long enough. So I ended up taking 3 trades in rapid succession, all losers, because I was like, no, it's still going to go. It's still going to go. Instead of just being like, okay, stop. Reassess your zone. Your zone was up here. So you see how I kept getting buying back in the zone and then it went back down again. That is, you know, it's just easy mistakes there, man. There's no need for all of this. I could have taken this L, sure, for 1% of my account. And then I could have, you know, waited and saw some consolidation. I mean, I could have taken this L and then 20 minutes later still had an opportunity to take this move if I decided that's what I wanted to do, which would have given me time to do my 20-minute rule as well as, you know, not revenge trade. So, and what's sad though is, like, had I taken an entry right here, I could have sold here. Had I, you know, I just, even revenge trading, I should have been able to squeak it out, but I just didn't. I just botched it. Apparently, I've blocked it out of my mind because I don't even remember the details. But yeah, that's that. That's that. It is what it is. So, LEDS, I ended up getting winner on. I was only filled 2 of 4 orders, though. Let me see what that zone was. LEDS, that was at 906 as well. Okay, so here, so I ended up doing, okay, so I ended up doing 3 bids. I remember this one. Oops, I remember doing 3 bids, right? And I think now I'm going to start putting some more size at the top of my zones. I feel like things are going, the pop and drops have kind of subsided, I feel like, or at least enough. I mean, well, that's pretty pop and droppy, but maybe I've just figured it out well enough that, you know, I'm starting to kick myself because I'm in too small on these moves. Like 1,000 shares right here, good move. 100 shares right here, you know, not really worth your time. So I'm going to start sizing in heavier, I think, on the tops of my zones. Maybe like 200, 200, 200, 600 or something. I don't know. But I did three bids here. So I did one at the top, one in the middle, and then one at the very bottom. And as you can see, this came down to 8, but not 797, which is where, or 798, which is where my zone was. So I got filled with like 200 shares because I did like 100, 100, 1,000, or 100, 100, 1,300, or whatever, you know what I mean? Which is like, I mean, that's my bottom. My average would have been amazing, but in this situation where you're off by a cent or two, you're left in a situation where you don't make a whole lot. Now I did make money, and I'm glad. Obviously, it came up here, and I sold it. I sold it the pop over this the 20 right here on the 2, and that gave me close to a 25-cent move or so. But yeah, bummer that I wasn't filled a little bit heavier on that one. That could have been a very lucrative trade. RIDE, I ended up taking 1062. So I actually took 4 trades at the same time. It was crazy, especially because I was doing it all from my phone. But I was sucking on small caps. You know, I wasn't happy with my big losses on Mosey, my small win on LADS, which are one and the same. They're like the same sector and everything, so they run together. So I ended up making that zone didn't work. So I ended up getting to work and going to my EVs. Now, for those of you who don't know, I trade for a proprietary trading firm, and I do EVs. I do electric vehicle, mid and large caps almost exclusively. Occasionally, I'll do Boeing, which is like the one outlier. But anyway, so I went to my kind of smaller price tag EV large caps and mid caps. So Ride, Fisker, Plug, FCEL. So FSR, RIDE, PLUG, and FCEL. I ended up trading all at the exact same time because they all were, these are all China plays or energy plays within the EV sector. And, they more or less like to move within a similar range to each other, like a lot of sector tickers do. So while Tesla and NIO and BLNK, well, BLNK I think did all right. But, as the majority of those large cap EVs were selling off, the China and energy ones were doing all right. So anyways, this is RIDE, and I took 10.62 to 10.45, and that was at 10.35. So right here in this range, I identified 10.62, whatever, it's good enough, down to 10.45. I was about to say, I did end up getting filled in full on this one. So this one filled me in one, just one bid here. And then it came up here to 11, or close to it. It came to VWAP and I was out. Again, my profit targets are very conservative, right? Especially right now. You're looking at something like that. Risk probably would have been, I think the 200 was a bit higher at this point. I don't remember, but regardless, I got filled on one bid. I sold it right here. Now, this is actually the story of the day. Taking zones, the same zone, multiple times, right? I talked a bit about this yesterday. Now, if you are planning to do this, you need to have a good plan on how you either A, want to mitigate risk, or B, have reasonable understanding of why profit targets have to be a bit more conservative. So the reason for it is I took this zone right here and I sold it up here, right? Then it came and filled again. And I know that, like, unless the volume is going to outpace what it did here or outpace what it did here, I mean, you can look at the huge difference in volume. Big volume, high of the day. Little bounces, not big volume. So if you see the volume is not bigger or as big as it was in the good rallies, see this rally right here, a little bit of a spike right here on this way up. If you're not seeing these big levels of volume, then you know that you're not supposed to be holding for a high day. I mean, it's that simple. Shoot for things that are reasonable. A tap of VWAP, a break through the 20, some major psych levels, 10.5, 11, stuff like that. I actually like to do, like, where do I see price having short-term resistance? And I'll usually scale there. So, like, obviously here, price, dealt with itself a lot. You can see that on the 5 and the 10. And create more conservative ranges. Because when you take zones multiple times, you're not always sure that which turn is going to be the last time that the zone works. Another thing you can do to mitigate risk is to, let's say I took 1,000 shares here and I sold. Well, then on the next time I take my zone, I'm going to do a max of 500. That way, even if I get stopped out, I'm not losing more than I made on the previous trip through the zone. Now, this one, when I took it, I actually sized the same, simply because I treated this as kind of an outlier. I said, okay, this is a little rally, rejected VWAP, which is a good sign that it's coming back down. When it rejects like this with a big candle like that, I know that, like, it's coming back down to me. So I sell on this. Cool. I made that. Not a big deal. Now I'm going to wait for my zone to fill again. And it did. I mean, it filled almost perfectly. And then, it came up, same profit target. You can see that right here, shooting for a close to VWAP. I actually sell it a little bit before VWAP usually, because oftentimes you'll get like 2 or 3 cents away from a touch or a breakthrough. and you want to hold for every cent, and then it comes against you. As you can see right here, this candle came against you quick. I mean, this is, almost a 20-cent candle here. So, that's a candle that I would consider a full trade. But anyways, I took this ride up here. I got my my 10-9, so that ended up being about a 40-cent trade. Pretty good. So 2 trades on this one, both winners. One very small size, one in full. FSR at the exact same time. Let me, this one didn't fill me in full, and I didn't trade it a second time, even though I definitely could have. Which is a shame, because today was the day of zones working multiple times, man. And you know what? Yesterday it was as well, and it was all on the same EV style tickers. So those are all things that mentally I'm making note of. What is this? FSR 1035 as well. So yeah, keep in mind at the exact same time all these got filled. So I had 4 positions open at the same time. 1227 to 1219, 1227. Again, had I put 200 shares up here or 300 shares or something as opposed to 100, it would have been a nicer move. I came up here to 12.5 and I sold. But I only got, a 20-cent move, 23, 25-cent move, what have you, is a good move for a scalper. I'm all about that, especially considering that it came up to test. And okay, so you see right here is a good example. I don't shoot for highs. I'll take where the resistance was, because highs usually happen on pops and they come down. So I'm going to take in these resistances. As you can see right here, we ended up dealing with a double top. So I was able to scale out right here. I saw that it was kind of curving over, and I took my profit. Now, unfortunately, I was only in with really small size because it was the top of my zone, and that sucks. That sucks. But I still made money. I think I ended up making $60 or something, which is fine. It's totally fine. So here you could have taken the zone a second time. Depending on what your stop loss is, you could have taken it a third time as well. But my stop loss was, I can't remember. I want to say it was 12. That sounds unrealistic. It might have been 12-1. Maybe it was 12 to give myself the 200. Regardless, I didn't take it this time, which you could have for at least another, that's another 20 cents. You could have taken it this time and maybe not gotten stopped out, depending on what your risk management was. And you could have rode this for a good, 40 cents. So real good zones on Fisker there, FSR. I ended up, because that one was in small, I paid less attention to it. I could have added to my winner in that case. If I knew that I wasn't going to get filled in full, I could have used opportunities on dips to, perhaps, add it to my winner to give myself the size that I was missing. But I was in too many trades at the same time, so I didn't pay enough attention to it. All right, the plug is the next one. Plug 2708, 2697. Sorry, my Discord audio just went off. So if you're thinking, what the hell, I don't have any notifications, it was mine. I muted it. Plug, yeah, at 2708, 2697, 1034. This one ended up being a really good one. 2708 to 2697. So at this point, I realized I need to start adding heavier size. So I sized up on this one, and I actually didn't get filled in my last bid, which, as always, is my largest. However, I was in, like a half a position, as opposed to like the first 2 bids making up a third of my position. The first 2 bids made up a little over half, or maybe half, something like that. But again, we're not holding here for these, crazy highs. Because, again, like I said, volume. If the volume isn't bigger or equal to, what it was in these areas, then, good luck. So instead I said, I'll scale out above, where was it? Some resistance levels here. Yep. Damn it. I identified this as a level of some resistance. You can see right here as price traded through this, that it was impactful, this consolidation right here especially. So as soon as it popped over that, I scaled some out. And then as it rounded off up here at the top, and as volume, is not coming in, I wait to see with the last position. I raised my stop to break even after I scaled out, first of all. And then, I wait to see, is the volume going to come in and drive this upwards? And if I don't see the significant volume, like This is where the big volume was on these two babies right here. This big candle that brought us up, not even the big volume. So that tells me that this move is not going to have a huge push. That's not, you know, it'll go up, sure, and I'll take a good scalp, but I'll have to be more reasonable and less brave with my profit targets. So I took the rest, and you know, in between 27.3 and 27.4. I don't know exactly where, but good trade, a good trade. I mean, that was basically 30-ish cents I made on that one with a much bigger size than some of the previous ones. Now this is a crazy one as well. So plug I ended up taking multiple times. Oops. So plug I ended up taking here a second time. And again, remember when I said my profit targets, I sold in full here. I wasn't holding for a break through that because look at the volume. The volume is less. So I think that as the volume is less, you know, the price's range is less. It came back down again. I filled, took it again. Boom, came up here, same profit target. The volume actually here was a little bit, was coming up a little bit. So I was hesitant and I didn't want to scale out. And then as it started to come against me, I ended up selling. So I didn't get the full hold on this one. But because this kind of peaked below my zone here, I ended up getting decent ads a little bit below here. But regardless, as you can see here, I actually ended up shorting. I called it out in chat. I was like, yo, I sold it like 27.17 and I'm short for the break at 27. And it did break down. I shorted it on my firm account as opposed to my personal. And I actually covered right at VWAP. I wasn't holding for like the, you know, for it to shit all day. But you could have honestly taken it again. Now I didn't, but you could have taken the same zone 4 times on the day, which is wild. Oh, I'm sorry. I was in 4 trades. FCEL didn't fill me. We can just do this one really quick since I didn't get filled. FCEL 832, 826, 832. I think I ended up nuking my bids because it got close and it just didn't come down far enough. Now later in the day, right here, obviously I could have taken it. But right here is when I was trying, and as you can see, it came close, but you know we just couldn't get it. Came a couple cents, and then it's almost a slap in the face when it taps you in with 1, and you know I pay commissions. So sometimes I'm like, damn, dude, was it even worth the commission? Now this would have been a good trade. I wasn't watching it at the time. I won't pretend like I did. That would have been all right. Same zone. So what does this mean though? Like as an idea for all these zones to be holding up? Well, first of all, these are closer to large caps. They're more mid cap range than they are small caps. And the small caps are the Mosies, the LEDS, and the things like that, where you see these significant sell-offs. These mid and large caps hold their value a little bit more because they're investable companies. Their asset has worth. Which is why I really, really love this space. You know, the $10 to $20 range, you know, sometimes higher for the plugs and the Neos of the world. But you can find, you know, large market cap tickers with a smaller price. And usually you have pretty good daily range on them. They all have their own natural volatility. I mean, there wasn't news on any of these tickers. It was just simple, like, you know, their natural volatility of people buying and selling. That large caps have their own volume and volatility that comes every single day that, you know, isn't driven by catalysts. So that's why I really, really like to hone in on these, especially on a day like today where I was so disappointed with the small caps in the morning. XPEV was the 4th one I took. So I technically had 5 orders open, but I only got filled on 4. All 4 of them ended up being winners. And it was only up until this point that I was starting to get green on the day again, which is crazy. When I should have been handsomely green at this point, but alas. I called XP. Did I not call XPEV? Oh yeah, here we 27.20. Okay. 27.22. When was it? 10:46. So right here. I said 27.22 down to 27.11. I mean, dude, it doesn't get much better than that, guys. Come on. I'm out here feeling myself a little bit. Damn, bro. He really be doing this. And, I'm all hype and flexing, with this perfect zone fill. But I will be the first to tell you that I ended up selling this ticker like I got 20 cents on it. So it would have been about, yeah, right here. I ended up selling there. I could have gotten like a whole nother 40 cents. But I was watching so many things at once. I saw the way this came down to fill me, and I was like, woof, maybe we should just take what we can get and, not try to fight the 20 and what have you. So I ended up selling right around here for 20 cents. So beautiful zone, excellent zone. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better fill and a better pattern, beautiful trend reversal, all that good stuff. Great run up here to some decent levels, almost high of the day push. And I sold it early because I was trying to watch too much. Instead, I held on to Fisker, which I was in for a single bid of like 100 shares or something. And I ended up making like $12 or something. I can't remember, but that's how it felt. So definitely screwed that one up here. Definitely screwed that one up. Let me see what else. So LLIT, I'm gonna just do really quickly. It was the big one. I talked about it so much in the chat. This was pretty much the killer of, I did so well on this ticker today. I did a terrible job of it. You guys were like, oh, this stock killed you. I don't know why I chose those words to describe it, but it was a really good trade. It was really good trades. This zone. So it had 1122, which would have been up here in this action right here. I said, price is about to reject 10 and come down to fill me 942 to 923. 942 to 923. My stop was down here at 901 based on the wick. Look at this. Look at this beauty. I ended up taking this zone not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And you could have taken it a 5th. So, why did this zone work so many times, right? Like, what is the, well, if you come and take a look, it's not because I'm just like, so good or something like that. Although if that's what you think, then I appreciate the kindness. But we have essentially, an ascending triangle on this bad boy. You can see that, kind of like Mosey, really, though. I mean, it just traded resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support. And as you can see, the lows got higher, and it wedged itself up here before it rallied. And we were all saying, we're like, dude, if it goes over 9.8, it's going. And the move that it did go over 9.8, I was actually double-sized because I was expecting it. I was like, this has got to be the rally, dude. I saw this volume coming in, and what did I say? Volume has to look like it did on the huge rallies if you want moves that are close to the huge rallies. Now, this wasn't high of day, but it was a good little run. Close to high of day. But what did it take? Almost the same volume that high of day took. That's very important. The volume determines everything. So, if you're not looking at your volume, here's a cool thing you can do, the remainder of the week is when you take a trade, look at the volume. Make a mental note of where the volume is at and see if you can identify, okay, this is not going to be a high day rally. Now, don't cut your trades short and stuff like that on my account. Just, notice the volume. And if it's not significant, notice, where it comes up and where it, stops before coming back down, and compare those levels of volume to the previous runs. Look at this. It runs up to 9.8 or close to it. That volume and that volume on the second run up to 9.8, almost the exact same. Look at that. Almost the exact same, which is crazy considering these are like almost 200,000. And then the run that took us up over it was bigger. I mean, it's very simple in that respect. Volume is a very nice thing that can give you the idea of, like, I look down at it and I go, okay, well, I see how fast the tape is moving. I see that my volume is less. I should probably, not be shooting for, $1,000 on this, but instead let's take profit, at resistance levels. So I did. I took it and I scaled out and I won. I actually got burned on one of them. I think might have been this one. I had my stop too tight at some point and my average was bad because I sized in poorly. So I ended up losing on one of these, but I got right back in as soon as I got tapped out because I was like, no, I fucked that up, and that was easy to tell. As opposed to revenge trading, I think my average is way up here, and I was like, well, damn, dude. Oh no, I'm tell you what it was. I remember I raised my stop because I was like, well, where was it? Yes, it was right here. Okay, so I actually raised my stop, and I said this in chat, which hopefully nobody listened to me because I was right, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. So I raised my stop right here from down here because I saw this forming, and I said, oh no, this looks like a bear flag on the 5-minute chart. So I raised my stop to the low of the trend, knowing that if it goes below that, okay, that's a forfeiture of the trend. So what did the price do on this bear flag? Wicked me out and came right back up. And I said, damn it. So I filled in my zone again. And then I started getting, yeah, that's exactly what happened. I remember it vividly. You can even go see in the chat. I said bear flag, and it did technically bear flag, but the buyers were so strong. Man, this was a choppy ticker. If you were watching this as closely as I was all day, bro, my anxiety is nuts because it would just pop, come back down, pop, come back down. Pop. And I mean, you could have taken this trade multiple times. Just like if you had identified a better zone than I did on MOSY, you could have taken support resistance scalps all day. I mean, these are no joke. These are, 60 cents, 40, 50 cents every trade. And I ended up doing great. But I go and look at my P&L and I got this big, fat, ugly, only red ticker on the day is Mosey. And I'm like, wow, dude. Because in that moment, I thought my day is ruined. I just fucked it up. I sucked. And then in the end of the day, I look back and I'm like, damn, I had a great day today. It was just only, the quality of it was lessened a little bit by that ugly Mosey that's significantly red. And had I just taken the one small L, I mean, I don't know how many times I got to tell myself this, but had I just taken the one small L, this day wouldn't have been a good day. It would have been a great day. So moving forward, I'm going to have to just pound that into my skull. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get better every day. I do appreciate all the people who, have nice things to say about me and, thank me for helping them or whatever. But, I'm still in a learning stage as well. I don't think I'll ever not be. So, I do have my, my vices and my problems, my issues. So, don't think that your traders that you watch are perfect or gods or anything like that, because, well, I can speak for myself. I definitely find myself falling into some pretty simple mistakes, most of them psychological based things, which is why I try to do a lot of psychological research and listening and things like that. So, that is just me coming clean and being transparent on that one. Otherwise, a solid day of trading could have been better, and hopefully tomorrow will be. So I hope you guys had a great day today, and I will see you all tomorrow. As always, you can DM me anytime and ask me any questions you like. Be well, guys.